And the plan is for husband to stay at his current job while wife goes back to school to get her second degree. When wife graduates, then husband will go back to school, and during that time, wife will be supporting the family. They also decided that they were not going to take out any student loans for husband's program. Wife did take out student loans when she was in school, and they just didn't want to get into any more debt, so they decided to pay his tuition out of pocket. Wife decides to hire one of the best divorce attorneys in Dallas, Texas. And just shout out to my amazing team who discovered that all of those days that he was leaving for class, he was on the other side of town with his other family. And never
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming.
I know I usually tell y'all to grab a cocktail, but today grab some headache medicine. Today is just one of those days where I'm actually appalled, which doesn't happen often as a family law attorney. I usually see all kind of crazy stuff on the regular. But imagine you and your spouse falling in love and getting married young, and by young I mean 22. I think that's kind of young. And y'all start having children right away, so y'all come up with a plan, an agreement, a compromise, if you will. And the plan is for husband to stay at his current job while wife goes back to school to get her second degree. When wife graduates, then husband will go back to school, and during that time, wife will be supporting the family. Wife has the dream career she's always wanted, and now husband is applying to schools. And husband wants to go to school to be a physician assistant. And if you know anything about being a PA, I really think it's a cool job. I had a client years ago who was a PA. It was a custody case, and he made about $300,000 a year and worked 3 days a week. But back to this story. So husband applies, he gets into PA school, everybody's so excited. They also decided that they were not going to take out any student loans for husband's program. Wife did take out student loans when she was in school, and they just didn't want to get into any more debt, so they decided to pay his tuition out of pocket. Just for context, wife has a great career, they can afford it with a couple sacrifices, so that's the plan. Husband has been withdrawing his tuition from their joint account every semester, like they planned. And such is life, a hiccup happens, and wife is no longer at her current job. She tells her husband, no, baby, please don't drop out of school. I will figure this out. You supported me when I did it. Don't worry, I will figure it out. So wife takes out a personal loan to pay for husband's tuition. Husband is so grateful, and he tells her, I promise when I graduate, I'm going to pay the loan off. Keep in mind this loan is for $100,000. It will cover his tuition for the whole time during school, books, fees, anything that comes up. As the months go by, the marriage starts to change. Husband's being really distant, staying out later. He's saying he's with his study groups. So wife starts doing some digging, trying to figure out if his class schedule is matching up with all the times that he's out. So she keeps hitting a dead end. She's not really getting anywhere. So then she fills out whatever form the school has to request a transcript. Several weeks go by. She doesn't hear anything back about this transcript, so she calls the school to follow up. And the person on the phone, they're trying to be helpful. They're trying to get this lady some answers about why she hasn't gotten a response. So they're just tapping away on their keyboard. And they're like, ma'am, I see why you haven't gotten a response. There's no one enrolled here by that name. And wife's like, come again? Because I must didn't hear you clearly. She repeats his name, his date of birth, his social, and the person's confirming on the other end of the phone, ma'am, he don't go here. Wife decides to hire one of the best divorce attorneys in Dallas, Texas. And just shout out to my amazing team who discovered that all of those days that he was leaving for class, he was on the other side of town with his other family. And every semester when he's making these large withdrawals to pay his tuition, well, guess what? He's really supporting his other family. So this brings me to one of my favorite divorce actions. Fraud on the community estate. I mean, I must say, there are some times being in a community property estate that it comes to bite you in the butt, but then there's other times where it's just so sweet. Ta-ta for now, because I have to go subpoena a mistress and serve some discovery to her. Of course I have to find out how much of these community property funds she's been receiving and enjoying. On second thought, I'm gonna wait to serve that tomorrow, on a Friday. Ruin their little weekend. I'm so mean. And the plan is for husband to stay at his current job while wife goes back to school to get her second degree. When wife graduates, then husband will go back to school, and during that time, wife will be supporting the family. They also decided that they were not going to take out any student loans for husband's program. Wife did take out student loans when she was in school, and they just didn't want to get into any more debt, so they decided to pay his tuition out of pocket. Wife decides to hire one of the best divorce attorneys in Dallas, Texas. And just shout out to my amazing team who discovered that all of those days that he was leaving for class, he was on the other side of town with his other family. And every semester when he's making these large withdrawals to pay his tuition, well, guess what? He's really supporting his other family.
On God, whoever tagged me in this, count your days. I was having a kind of good morning. As some of you all may know, I'm still on grief hiatus here. I woke up, I was reading The Mastery of Love, I was meditating on the principle that love is not fear, love involves trust. If we release fear, maybe we can rise to a new level in love. And I get on TikTok and it's the very first thing I see. Men are the devil, honestly. They are just like the scum of the earth. I don't know why they're here. I have the full video tagged below, but if you're not familiar, this is Lauren the lawyer. She's a divorce attorney who tells us about her interesting cases with permission. So the husband and wife make this deal after she has the children. She will go back to school and then he will go back to school afterwards while she supports him. First, she was paying the tuition out of pocket, but then she lost her job and she took out a personal loan for $100,000, tried to send the loan to the school. School says, "Who is this?" Which led to her discovering the second family. So many lessons here. First one, what you think is a curse can turn out to be a blessing. I'm sure she thought when she lost her job, it was, so horrible. But if it hadn't happened, she probably never would have known, and that man could have drained her finances forever. Second lesson, every day men stoop to a new low. I thought that she had all the bases covered because I always say when you do one of those, you support me, I'll support you deals, make sure you as the woman go first, because men are infamous for becoming the doctor, the lawyer, the what the fuck ever, and leaving you high and dry. And you have no education and no money because you gave it all to him for his tuition. But this man discovered an entirely new way to screw her. But that never would have happened if you follow the principle I tell you all the time. If he's not spending money on you, he's spending money on another woman. This is always true. It's not true 90% of the time. It's not true 99.9%. It's true 100% of the time. And you're like, well, what about if he was in school? Guys, it was already unequal from the first beginning because when she went back to school herself, she got a student loan. What the fuck was he doing? But when he went back to school, she supported him financially. She was paying his tuition out of pocket. You simple child of God. If Johnny has 5 apples, what the fuck are you doing? Because here's the real secret. I tell you all the time. Men use women to define their identity. This man never had any intention of going back to school. Now, the woman wasn't an idiot. She didn't blindly believe. He applied and he got in. Hopefully she saw some proof of that. But for a lot of men, women are the shortcut. You hear men talking about the big career they want to have one day in sports or entertainment or whatever. What do they tell you they want? They want the cars, they want the money, they want the fame, and women. So if a lot of men have more than one woman, they feel like they made it. That's all they need to feel like the big baller shot caller. He wants to feel like the man. The first thing he does is start triangulating women. He starts playing them off one another with or without their knowledge. So he used his wife's resources so he could appear like a big baller to this other woman and grab a woman he probably could have never had access to on his own and settle down with her. I'm sure if we were able to see pictures of the wife and the mistress, they're two completely different aesthetics. He got himself a workhorse who probably settled for him because this woman had enough moxie to be going for a second degree in an obviously very lucrative field because she could afford to pay his PA tuition out of pocket. Homegirl was making money. And I'm sure she was probably doing all the caretaking for the kids while he was quote unquote in school. Once he had the bottom bitch secured, he runs out and gets an IG baddie with her money. And then he locks her up too because he knows he can't maintain 2 women for a while without clipping their wings. And I'm sorry to say, even though his wife is cutting him loose, his mistress, who might have had no knowledge of this, might be forced to stay with him just because she's in so deep now. Sounds like they have children together. He's her only means of support. Hopefully, Lauren will give us an update about the situation later because I really want to know more. She says she's sending a subpoena to the mistress. She's going to be, both of them are going to be sued for this fraud on the marital communal funds. But I just wonder what's going to happen to the wife because regardless of what happens with this case, you did take out this huge personal loan in your own name. I imagine even if you return it right away because you don't need it, there's still some sort of penalty. It's so much, Lord. And this is a mark on your psyche. This is a mark on your life. Now you have to go through this draining divorce. You have to explain this to your children for the rest of their lives. They're going to have to deal with the fact that they have half siblings out there, that their father is a piece of crap, and you're going to have to go on dealing with him because I'm sure he's going to get some sort of custody or visitation. This is why I'm so glad I'm child-free. I'm telling you, earlier, the mastery of love had me in such a good emotional place. I was like, well, maybe some of this, relationship protection techniques are about fear. What if we could let go? What if we could trust more? This is why we can't trust because of men. You have to be looking out for yourself. You have to constantly be thinking one step ahead. And I do think being child free is the ultimate hack, because if a man does you dirty, you can cut him off and you never have to think about him ever again. He's not dead, but he might as well be, because, you have no connection to him. It's like he never existed. But if that's not possible in your life, do not spend one penny on a man. I don't care if you think you're being equitable, if you're all in this together because you're married now. No. Self-protection is paramount. And you're thinking to yourself, well, I have to do all that, I shouldn't get married. Don't get married then. But if you're going to be in romantic relationships, you have to protect yourself. Like and follow for more.
Every time, every single time. This is the reason why I refuse to hold a man down. Imagine you taking a loan, that big of a loan, right? Oh, the way that I think about my student loans, what? Imagine you taking out a loan for this man to go to school, and the whole time he had a whole family on the other side of town. Not only was he pretending to be going to school, but he's saying that he's hanging out with his friends after school until you started getting suspicious. Does men think we're dumb? Does men think that women are actually stupid, like we don't think? I mean, seriously. He had a whole family on the other side of town, and didn't even, because he could have went to school and still got to see his family, because at the end of the day, you cannot tell them what to do, and they're going to do what they want anyway, clearly. But this man, he could have went to school and still had this whole family, because like I said, he's going to do what he's going to do anyways. But imagine for you to not even take one class, not one. You just basically said the hell with it. But then again, I cannot blame him, because sometimes we have to take accountability. He did say never mind. He did say he did not want to go to school before she actually got the student loans for him to go to school. He was comfortable where he was. He was comfortable with the degree that he had. So he said, never mind. But she persisted. She said, okay, I did say I was going to help you, da-da-da-da. A woman holding a man down again, holding the house down while she's making money. She was making good money, I have to say. While holding the house down, take a loan with her own money to send this man to school. And even then, he did not see her doing a good deed. He just said, you know what, I have my freedom now. I can have a whole family. And that's exactly what he did on the other side of town. That sounds very much like every Haitian man. Not the schooling part, but the whole having a family on the other side of town. Jamaican men, still the same. Black American men, kind of the same. Not kind of, exactly the same. Except they don't take care of their kids. Most of the time they don't. Not all of them, but majority of them. People don't lie, okay? However many stories I've shown about people who are not taking care of their children, it doesn't lie. Like, it's just facts. If you don't want people to talk about you not taking care of your children, start taking care of them. People won't talk about it. I know I'm getting all over the place with that one, but if we go back to the story, this seems right in character. Seems right in character. Maybe they're not black. Maybe they're Hispanic, whatever, or white, because white people do this too. It's just wrong all the way around. The way that she had to find out, because he was lying so much. Why not be honest and just get out of the relationship? That's my thing. Why not be honest and just get out of the relationship? You're going to start a whole family and lie to your wife's face while she's paying for your school. You don't even feel bad that she's paying all this money and you never even attempted to go to school. Imagine that. Student loans are so expensive, and all I can think about is my student loans. Something that I work hard for. I still don't want to pay because I'm just like, I don't even have the job to match the amount of student loans that I have. For you to take student loan out for someone who you love and hoping that they would love you the same and actually, or even respect you, not even love, just the respect. The fact that he didn't even care for her that much to show her the respect by telling her, hey, I'm not going to school, don't waste your money, da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. And I'm no longer in love with you, I have a whole other family, let's end this relationship. The way they don't care, they will literally sleep with you years after they stop loving you, just because it's just comfortable. It's crazy. Crazy. And they're not even embarrassed. They don't care. They don't care. They're hoping that you will never open your eyes. I shared a video on the 888 Lionsgate portal. It's about, what's it called? It was about expressing yourself, like the last thing that you'll tell someone before you pass away, like deathbed confessions. I forgot the title of it. Deathbed confession. This man confessed to having a whole family that live across the street from his new old family. In the cover up of, I found a single mom on the street and she had his kids and they really need the help. I'm going to rent in this house, which is mine, across the street from my family's house, and then never even told the lady until the lady finally found out on his deathbed. And the lady went crazy because the man didn't even die. He didn't even die. So that was my favorite part, because he did not die. So he had to live with that. But because of that, the lady, his first wife, ended up dying of a broken heart. Poor lady died of a broken heart. She went crazy, tried to suffocate the man with a pillow, so they had to get him a private sitter to come and sit with him. That's insane. Almost damn near made the lady go crazy and then died of a heart attack, and the heifer was still alive. He never even died. Like, the lady died and he didn't. That's crazy. Anyways, y'all, don't hold them in down. They show their ass every time. But then again, that's an advice that I take. I don't want to push my advice on anybody, but this advice has never been wrong before. Never. The most you're going to get out of me is a pair of socks. And you have to be worth it. You're going to get a pair of socks, and that's it. And it's been working great for me. Talk to y'all later.